Hey guys, what's up? Now it's super cold outside, it's like 3 degrees. Someone asked the question, can cold weather damage our gear? Well, I think if you're careful about it, you're okay. Like my truck right here, it's full of gear right now for tomorrow night's gig. And I'm not too worried about it because of how things are gonna work with heat and things like that on the way to the gig. But sometimes if you're running things like in a pickup truck or something, you could have problems. Here's an example for you. I've got a par light on the ground here that I've had for about an hour or so. In the wintertime, typically indoors is very dry, but sometimes when you come into a banquet hall, there are a lot of people talking, and that creates condensation just from the breath, and it makes it humid in a room. I'm sure you've experienced that before. A room's cold, people enter it, it gets hot right away. So what I've done to simulate that breath is boiling water on the stove. So we're going to bring the light in, and we're going to see what happens to it. Alright, it's good and cold. Let's bring it into the kitchen and see what happens. Alright, it's been in the kitchen about a minute, and there's condensation on this light. I can feel it, it's wet. I don't think it's even been another minute yet, but you can see that it's damp, and I don't know, for some reason, wet stuff sticks to cold stuff. So we've had it in the house probably about 8 minutes now, and as you can see, it's super wet. As this light warms up, you're going to see water bead on it. So what do you do in a situation like this? Well, you don't have much of a choice but to let the thing warm up and dry off, and that could take a lot of time. I remember a gig I did one time. Man, I let that stuff sit there for an hour, and it was still a little damp when I plugged it in, and I'm uncomfortable with that. I don't like plugging in wet electronics. So we know heat destroys things. You know, we know that cold is better for electronics than heat is. However, this condensation stuff is a very, very bad thing. So what can you do? Well, you can gradually warm your gear up. You can do this in your vehicle, like if you're driving a van or perhaps a Suburban like I have. The whole interior slowly warms up on your way to the gig. That's going to be better than bringing it into a room full of moisture. And once you bring it into the room, the stuff isn't going to be freezing cold anymore, especially if you've got, like a half hour, maybe an hour commute. It's going to slowly warm up your stuff. If you run into a situation like this where you had it in the back of a pickup truck or something and it's just wet, you gotta wait it out. You can dry it off with a towel if you want to, but the problem is, even cold is still gonna take on that moisture after you dry it off, and you don't know what's going on inside with the electronics. You can also cover these things and let them warm up without that condensation hitting them as much. If they're in like a case of some kind or a bag, that's a good thing too, if you give them enough time to slowly warm up. But yeah, that's how cold can hurt your gear, and that's the stuff I'd be careful about. So that's a quick video for you. I'm not a science guy, but I thought I'd do a little science video for you. If you got any questions, comments, answers, as always, in the comment section is a great place for those. Until next time, practice and enjoy.